Hey, it's Mack with PriceActionTradingSystem.com. It is Wednesday, it's June 8th. This will be our chart lesson for the day. And it was just another slow, kind of methodical day, another range type day. Notice how prices started off looking like we were going to have a good trend, and then notice how prices are going on both sides of the EMA consistently. You can generally trade that both ways. Um, so just keep that in mind. I'm there. Once we saw this leg up right here, we made this higher leg here. Actually, I started from here, and then when we went lower, I moved it over to here. But we didn't get anything close to that. If you measure that, we came up very short. But you'd measure this from here to here, and then you'd drag the low over to here and see what your measured move would be. We didn't get anything close to that. So, but you had clues to tell you that. Notice this little channel working up. You get a break and a move to a new high, and you pretty much know you're probably done by the end. That gets you into 2 o'clock anyway. So not much going on after that regardless. But we're really from 8:30 to close, we're in a 2011 to, you probably call it 2019 or so there. So about an 8-point range. So not a lot of entries here. It's going to be pretty quick tonight. Somebody asked me about this, and we'll talk about it when we get to it. I wouldn't short that there, not with this channel working higher here. At that point, you're looking for a measured leg up, and the reason this turns down is we're just coming off the resistance here. And I got this trend line off the high side. Notice that gap. I talk about those all the time. Generally, they gap over these lines, and so when you draw that trend line through that gap and across those highs, it fits really well. And you just drag it down to the lower price action, and we bounce perfectly right there. We really make a double bottom, but notice how it pushes through the EMA. It's setting up kind of like a reversal pattern, so you got to be a little careful with it. That's the reason I made that one green. It is right off of the EMA, but we had an overshoot up here, so we may get a break here. You got to be careful, and so I'd wait on a break of this trend line and a retest attempt at least, and we do get a new low there, so I like going long. It pushes lower again, but then we're just kind of going sideways. But when you get that failed second entry short and everything's holding inside that support area, we're going higher, and you're going to retest this high. And you're probably going to retest the high on this one because we don't have a retest on that yet. And you can see we got a little higher, and then that was it for the day. So that's how I saw that. You got to have a little bit of skill and experience to know how to find these trend lines off the high side. Otherwise, you probably would have drawn this one a little steeper. You still get to the same point, I think, though. Let's just say you draw that off those closes right there. That's still your first break of this trend line, which it ends up getting a break at the same place. You probably wouldn't have had your overshoot, but you get your break here, and you move to a new high. So it doesn't really change a whole lot if you saw it that way, but you probably would have noticed it didn't fit properly. Maybe it didn't fit right up here. Actually, let me just look at that. Let's just draw it and see what we get. Well, you still get the overshoot like that too. So it still works like that. I just saw it a little bit differently. So I used that line there, and you drag it down, and it fits perfect when prices come back to it. So but we'll talk about that a little more when we get to it. When I came in, prices were just kind of going sideways. You got a little failed break higher, but you got a channel working higher here, and you don't want to go long into that, not right at the 8:30 hour, or short into that, I'm sorry. So it pulls back, and this is almost exactly like yesterday. We went a little bit higher here, but that's still 2 legs back to the trend line, EMA. There's a double bottom there. You can see that trend line working up through there. That's a perfect little bar. Enter there. When it came back, if it would have gone on higher here, I would have thought about entering there, but it's so close to that resistance, you got to be real careful. But when you get the failed second entry short and that big reversal bar, go long, because you're gonna push on through there this time. They've trapped shorts there. That looks like a great short. But if you're paying attention and you know you can't go short right there because you got a trend line working up. You also, this is more sideways, so you can see how that looks right there. So that's the reason I was a little leery of that one. But once you get that trap, we're going higher. There is also a little trend line working right through here, and you want to, you get to the break, you get a double test. But I really like entering here because this is more sideways really than a trend, and you're going to bounce there with all that. You got a double bottom, you got the trend line, you got the EMA, you got three different things helping you there. And the only reason I don't like adding on right there is because you're right into that high. It's a little risky, but when it turns down right here and fails, and notice how it closes back in there, look at that, how strong that bar is. I actually like adding on there. And if you hadn't entered any of these, definitely enter there. And yeah, it's right into that resistance, but this is a trend, and it's been pretty strong so far. And you're probably going to look for, there's your first leg. Actually, it's probably more like that right there. And so look for a measured leg. You see, we don't quite get that. Sometimes if you just use the closes, you'll get a little closer, but you never know. So you got to just try it both ways. You still don't get there. So, but you're moving higher, and you really don't get another chance to enter here. I don't think you want to enter right here at the high of the day again. And then now this is a good opportunity for a short. Normally this one is real close to being green because you got a nice strong trend working up here, but you can see that resistance, and there was resistance in that same area yesterday. You can see right there. So look how we're going sideways. We can't get back to the high. We can't get through there. Nothing's closing along that high. Then you get that little push higher, and you're far enough away from the EMA. I like taking that short. Like I said, it's real close to being green because it is counter trend. But if you understand what's going on here, I'm okay with you taking that. And it's, you know, I'm even almost willing to make that one red. It's real close to being green. But you figure you're going to come back to the EMA. You don't know you're going to get this big move, but you figure you're coming back to the EMA and you'll get a scalp out of that. So that's what you're looking for there. You can see all that resistance. There's a reason. There's a lot of selling in that area. Look at all those bars stacked up there, and you get that little failed break higher. So I like that one. There's actually a failed break lower, but you want to go long right in that resistance, especially that far away from the EMA when you've been away from it that long. So it's tempting to enter that second entry, but that EMA's holding. Don't enter there. If you didn't enter here, you can't take a short. And then look what happens. You got your correction here. You get a break, a new high, and you don't really get a setup to go short. You're just kind of going sideways. So you got a little trading range, and you get that failed breakout. Look how bearish that is. Go short there. You actually could go short below that one because this is a trap. And look at it go. And this turns out to be. And I would be looking for a measured leg. Again, we don't get it, but that would have kept you in until you got the close outside here and a new low. It's tempting to go long, but you don't really get a good setup. That's very neutral bar. This one's kind of bullish. By that time, it's too far away. You got to use too big a stop. Just wait. And it pulls back, and it makes, look at that reversal bar. And I told you how you probably wouldn't have had this trend line yet. You'd just be playing this short-term one. Basically, what you're looking at is this support across here and failure to go lower. This one is close to being green again, similar to this one, especially since it's right into the EMA, especially because you got all that resistance right there. And it was very scary once you entered because notice how it closed back down. I really thought it would push down and probably make a trap and then turn up, but it took on off. So again, this one probably, I'm going to leave it blue, but it is real close to being green because you got your what you need here. You got your trend down, plus you've got the break of this one and a new low, and then you get a higher low. So, you know, you got to understand what's going on there to get that. But you've got a break of this channel and a retest with a new low, and you got a break of this one with a retest and a new low, and you make a little higher low, and that's a double bottom there. What really, if this was a little farther away from the EMA with room to scalp out, I'd feel more confident with that one, but it's right into that EMA, and you got to be careful about that sometimes. So, especially when we didn't have a measured move down, but you can see what's going on there, hopefully. Oops. Trying to draw this. Out there it is. You can see it. And really, I would have had it probably drawn right there. And that's a failed break lower, then that one closes inside that. So that's what I was looking at. You got some pretty strong support across there with the trap. And you probably trapped some more people on this move down. I would have liked to seen that failed second entry short, but you don't get it here. So, and then I would be looking for, from this point on, I'd be looking for the measured move from over here. See if maybe we get that. And this is where we start getting this resistance, and that's where you can find that trend line. And you can see it. We overshot it a little there, so then I'm kind of questioning it. But when that one closes inside and it turns down real quick, you know what's happened. Drag this down. Generally, I put it right below the closes, just like so. And that fits perfect. Again, I made this one green because you got a little trend line working down here, and you don't have a close outside the new low. And so, and if you'd have taken this with just a stop, and that's another reason, notice how it didn't break above that bar. That's telling you something. There's a trend line coming right through there, and it kind of gaps over it. It does back up. It closes there and opens there, and that's what a lot of times will happen on those trend lines, but it does back up. Notice how it closed above it, though. So this one's iffy. So the only way you could get in this is if you use a limit order and you try to get in back here with maybe a tick or two, 3 ticks most, because then you would have gotten out. Of course, you don't know that. It could have taken off. So, I mean, I almost don't even want to mark that trade, but I'll leave it green if you realize that you can't just enter with a stop there. But now it turns down and it breaks lower below all those matching lows, and it reverses. And look at that that's a reversal bar. So I like entering there, but then it doesn't take off. So, but when it breaks lower and then turns, it gives you this bar, go along there, and then it gives you another. This is basically notice the new low, first entry short, pullback, second entry short. So that's a failed second entry short. So even though you want to skip that one because it's starting to get iffy, I like that one. And I don't think you want to go short here because this is a channel working up. And even though it hadn't really been confirmed on this side, you got to be careful of it. You do have this working up with a break and new high. I could see why somebody would consider going short there. I don't like it on my chart really. There's not a lot of room there between that EMA, and you really couldn't get in with a limit order unless you waited till here. It would have come back, and I don't think I would have held on and let it fill that because it came off that trend line. It could have kept going higher. So I don't like going short there or here either. So you got too much support across here. Look at all that. So you're looking for longs, and then this one. The only reason this one is green is because it's right back into that double top, and you don't have a lot of room there. So you got to be a little careful about it. But okay, I had a little interruption there, but yeah, you got to be careful of that one. This is the one that really counts, but you got to worry about that double top too. But when it turns down, and look how bullish, that's like a little bullish reversal. They probably trap some more longs there. So if you want to be aggressive, I like that one because you're probably going to at least retest this high over here. Because we didn't get a retest yet on this channel. This is just a break, and you got 2 legs in it, so you're looking for a new high. And notice what happens once we got the new high for the day, we just kind of sold off again, and that's what you'd expect to happen. So there's another pullback right here that you could have looked at as a trap, but that is right into those highs. I mean, again, you probably could make it green, but that late in the day, I'd be very leery of that. I'll go ahead and give it a green one, but I don't think I would even take it if I was wanting to be aggressive that late in the day. So But I guarantee you it traps some shorts right there. People not understanding what's going on. And you do have to be a little careful because on this channel you've got a break and this gives you a new high. But you got to remember you had this channel over here and you're still working on that retest. And that's what this is, that last push up. And if it wasn't after 2 o'clock, I'd like going short right there because you got your new high and you get a failed second entry long and it turns high and turns down and goes right out the other side. I would have, if it wasn't after 2 o'clock, that'd be a definite short right there because I guarantee they trapped some longs. And you can see I shot down real quick and then it just kind of went sideways. So that's what I saw today. Some pretty good trades, not a lot of them like usual. It's just kind of slow, and there was some news today at 9:32, the oil news, and so I don't want to forget about that. But that's right through this area right here, and so I think you would have still been okay to take. It doesn't really affect. I mean, the oil's for a while there we were getting some really big hiccups due to oil, but it's not really. You might see it cause a few bars to go haywire, but it doesn't really. It's right in here somewhere. Maybe this bar right here. Time 9:32, yeah. So it happened right in here, and you see it affected the market. Not much, and the price action still works. So I don't think it really affects that short that much. So anyway, that's what we had for the day. I'm not gonna drag this out anymore. So I'm gonna wrap it up. And we'll be back again to do it tomorrow to wrap up our week. But I'm done for today. This is Mack with PriceActionTradingSystem.com, and we'll see you next time.